Hello, today I've decided to make a follow-up video on whether or not DOT has really morphed and became a non-security. There are some new information regarding this, one coming from recently finished Web3 Miami Summit. The update was also posted on Web3 Foundation Twitter, and there was also interesting detailed info on this issue in CoinBureau's official newsletter sent a while ago on November 6th. Let's start off with Web3 Foundation. In their tweet on November 30th, they repeated that the native DOT token had morphed and was no longer a security. What I find particularly interesting is that in this tweet it is mentioned that, I quote, according to US federal securities laws. This sentence is what caught my eyes, as in the original announcement about DOT morphing from security to software from November 4th, there was no wording like this. So in this announcement, it does not say according to US federal securities laws. What this means is there is a clear definition issued by the SEC of how originally a security can morph and become a non-security, and Web3 Foundation believes that DOT token meets this definition. At this Web3 Summit in Miami, there was a panel discussion with a chief legal officer and lead advisor in Web3 Foundation. Other tweets just repeat what we already know, that Web3 Foundation was collaborating with the SEC for over 3 years to make sure DOT token will not be classified as security and that it will be considered as software for the purpose of the SEC. Apparently, during the panel discussion, someone asked the question of where is the SEC's public confirmation of DOT not being a security anymore. The representatives of Web3 Foundation to this question referenced this recent speech from the SEC commissioner. If I get it right, basically it says the SEC has no responsibility to provide any legal advice to any market participants issuing their digital assets. It also probably means the SEC will not issue their statement confirming DOT is not a security. Based on what I've learned from the discussion on this topic from some digital assets lawyers' Twitter accounts, the SEC absolutely has no duty to publicly classify some digital assets as a non-security, so most likely it also will not happen in DOT token's case. Now, if the SEC really considered the DOT token a security, then it could be a bit worrying, as the SEC would probably file a lawsuit against the parity company developing Polkadot, and it could be the same situation as is now with the lawsuit filed by the SEC against Ripple company and its token XRP. The SEC is suing Ripple company, claiming that XRP token is not a currency but a security, and therefore it's subject to strict securities laws. Based on what I've learned, the SEC would basically have to file a lawsuit against every single cryptocurrency separately that they consider to be a security, one by one, or at least against the big ones, and we see how long the court case between the SEC and Ripple has been going on for a very long time. Now let's move to what CoinBureau thinks about the announcement made by the Web3 Foundation about DOT not being a security anymore. In his newsletter sent on November 6th, he shared a couple of interesting thoughts. It provides us with interesting background information of how this SEC versus crypto projects game is being played and how difficult it can be for a crypto project to meet the SEC's definition of what is not a security. First, he says that the Web3 Foundation's latest statement about DOT not being a security is probably a proof that the SEC has been closely looking at DOT lately. Then here he says that many crypto projects in the past have tried to proactively collaborate with the SEC, so Web3 Foundation and Parity is no exception in this regard. This is interesting. According to CoinBureau, it is safe to say that making an official statement to crypto community that a token or a coin is not a security is a rallying cry. So he says the announcement made by Web3 Foundation is a way how to unite the community and get them on board with the idea of DOT not being a security. Here CoinBureau reminds that he still holds DOT in his crypto portfolio because he believes DOT has a serious long-term potential. He also says he has been watching Polkadot closely over the last few years, and thus he has expected that at some point the SEC's scrutiny of DOT is definitely coming. Then he continues and says the confirmation for him about the SEC's scrutiny of DOT will come was that the founder of Polkadot, Dr. Gavin Wood, went MIA in early 2021. Then, when Dr. Gavin Wood spoke publicly again after this pause, all he was speaking about was crypto regulation. Here Coinbureau speculates that the fact that Dr. Gavin Wood stepped down as the CEO of Parity might be connected to the SEC's scrutiny of DOT coming. He further acknowledges, and we all know this, that Gavin Wood has put an absolute focus and priority on making Polkadot as decentralized as possible, probably as a response to the regulatory concerns Gavin Wood seemed to have last year in summer when he reappeared. Coinbureau further speculates that when the SEC's current chairman Gary Gensler got sworn last year in spring, it is possible that one of his first goals in relation to crypto was to go after Polkadot, and that might explain why Gavin Wood at that time disappeared for a few months. Let me remind, these were just pure speculations from Coinbureau, and he admits it right here. At the same time, it is clear that the SEC's criteria for what is a security are excessive. In this section, Coinbureau reminds that the problem might also be the fact that Polkadot was built by a single company, Parity Technologies, and is overseen by a non-profit organization, Web3 Foundation. He further says it seems the SEC has issues with any crypto projects where the company or founders received a significant share of the initial token supply. This should be one of the reasons the SEC is going after a Ripple company. That's why Coinbureau speculates this could be why the SEC could potentially closely watch also Polkadot, so all other major crypto projects with the same setup, consisting of a company plus a non-profit organization, might sooner or later face the scrutiny from the SEC. That would mean all crypto projects with only a foundation and with no single company developing should be safe, like Bitcoin and Ethereum. One more time reminding, this was just Coinbureau's speculations and what could be the current situation between the SEC and Polkadot. He can be wrong or right, the future will tell. I just found his thoughts very interesting, as Coinbureau has been following the SEC's regulation in relation to crypto space and security criteria very closely, so they really know what's really going on behind the curtain. Even if Polkadot really faces the scrutiny from the SEC in the future, that is still okay, as it would only mean that the SEC is doing its job and is investigating whether DOT is a security or not. And if the Web3 Foundation is confident that according to US federal securities laws, DOT token has really morphed and is no longer a security, then in theory all should be fine. I would say in the first half next year we will know much more. Let me know what you think. Are you 100% convinced that DOT is not being closely watched by the SEC and won't be in a risk of being classified as the security by the SEC? Thanks for watching and see you next time.